Who's your 17?
Yep. G2.
Oh my god! We
Yeah.
differ on this a lot. I'm gonna let you know soon where I have them, but why is G2 so low?
Look.
Alright, hi, and welcome to the first episode of the 1v9 podcast. It's me, Robo, here, and I have the honor, the pleasure to have King T as my first guest. How are you, King T?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. A pleasure to be the debut guest, I guess, of the 1v9. I mean, it's a peculiar name because for me, 1v3 is already daunting enough. 1v9, I don't know how you're gonna make that happen time and time again, but I'm sure you'll find a way. You're a smart guy.
Yeah. It's just a name after all, and I'll make do with it. And today we have a special concept as I'll probably have in each of these episodes, and this is something that I've just copied from another podcast. I'm not gonna name it, but the best ideas are always copied in some sort. But it's a watchability ranking of the top 20-ish teams. We have top 20. We actually have 24 teams here ranked, and the idea is to start from the 24th and end up in the first spot at the most watchable team. But I think first, let's go over some criteria. What does watchability mean for me and you? How did you work through your ranking?
Yeah, so I just thought about it like this. When I want to watch a game, a specific game or a specific team, like what draws me to it? So I broke it down. I was like, okay, firstly, I want some individuals. I want some guys who I can rely upon to make big plays, have big moments, entertain me a bit. Then I want a team that's going to play good CS. At the end of the day, not every round is a 1v3 that, -C hits 13 flicks. Sometimes it's just a standard default that crumbles, falls apart, the calling's shoddy. Like I want to see some decent structure, maybe a few fun calls. Like, you can be watchable in that sense. And then finally, the last two they're a bit like weird, but they do matter. Like one's charisma, like how fun a team is to watch. Some teams just have energy, they have presence. Be it, sometimes like a play like Snappy's got a lot of very aggressive energy. A play like Mazzinho is just fun, joyous. Like there are reasons you'd enjoy watching those guys play. And the final one for me, as a guy who likes to scout young players, follow their journeys, just youth. Like youth matters a bit. Like sure, 5 unks can play a really fun game, but if you can be play like a team that plays fun and you have this sort of untapped potential that I'm still watching, waiting, hoping will reveal itself, I'm going to be a little more interested. So those are the 4 categories I primarily go on, and I tried to be as objective and stick to those as much as possible to create this and not have too much personal like, oh, but I hate them type influence on my rankings.
That sounds perfect. Sounds like you've done your homework, and I didn't divide my variables into criteria of that sort, but I did look at my ranking for quite a bit of time, and I came back to it like every I don't know, every 6 hours or so, or maybe after a night of sleep, I looked at my ranking. I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I've got to make some adjustments. But what's interesting, of course, is that we're at the beginning of the season, and there have been some roster moves and that also affected my ranking, because there are some teams whose rosters I'm just more excited to get a look at than maybe some rosters that I already know what they are. They are known quantities for me, so that affected things. But without further talking, let's just get into it. From the bottom, we don't exactly have to spend 1 billion hours on each team, but let's start working through it. So who do you have at your bottom?
So my last place team, I've got 2 tied. I'm going to pick the one that I probably think you're less of a fan of. So I'm going to pick Liquid as my 24th. Right down the bottom. I mean, what is there to love? Like explosive play? Sure, we've got one highlight now from a Liege, but not a whole lot else. The calling's been messy. Charisma, they've just been dour, miserable, emo, and they're not exactly that young. So I don't see why, in my categories, why they'd be a particularly performant team. Like, sure, Shuhei's young, that's about it. So yeah, it makes sense for me. I have them dead last.
Okay. Well, we differ there already quite a bit. I have them a little bit higher, and maybe I do trust your science-y approach to this because
I tried to be objective.
Yeah. My biases show through in maybe some of these spots here, but yeah, Liquid is maybe one of those teams. I have them all the way up at the rank 12 just because of the individuals, their pedigree. Like Nav, he's gotten his game together again, and you got Elige back there, and already in this Blast tournament, he had one of those vintage Elige maps. So there are a few pieces to like, but Also, the reason I have them this high is maybe I have this criteria of a garbage fire, and garbage fires or car wrecks are interesting to watch. So that's
Sure.
one part of why I'm excited to look at this team, because also Siuhi, I mean he's I don't know if he's already at the hot seat, but he's maybe close to being there. Not on fraud watch necessarily, but more critical eyes are sure on him right now. Yeah, my bottom pick is apparently it was it really Pain? It was Pain.
Pain.
Yeah. I guess our
Okay.
lists do differ quite a bit, but
Violently on that front, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I got a chance to look at their first or like the first couple of games here, and their new guy, the Piriar. However you
Piria. I
Piria.
just call him Piria. I think
Piria.
the final part's just Junior, so like I just call him Piria.
Right.
Junior.
Okay.
Piria.
Yeah, Piria. A first look at him makes him seem like a pretty interesting prospect, and he does have quite a bit of experience already under him, even though he's a young gun, and this is his first real test, I would say, and his numbers look pretty insane. In Brazil, sure, so take that with a grain of salt, but when you put up those donk numbers in Brazil, that tells something. It doesn't tell you of the next donk, but it tells that he has something going on.
Yeah, it doesn't mean nothing. That's the thing I've come to find. It's like it's difficult to judge always exactly how good a team playing in domestic Brazilian play is, and individuals at the same way. Like, are you actually going to come along to Europe and drop a 130? Like, I doubt it. Like VSM was last year in Brazil. But yeah, it's not nothing. It's not nothing. They are still humans with hands. They play a CS a lot. Everyone's still a talented individual who makes it into this sort of level of play. So yeah, he had to be something. And thankfully, so far, he's pretty damn good.
Well, I take it that you have more reasons to tune into Pain's games.
Up in the top 10. Like, I've got them real up.
Okay. What about next? Who did you have tied up with Liquid, essentially?
I'm really sorry.
I guess
it's Ents.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have zero personal bias, and they even benched Mulzi. Like, he's gone. Like, what is there even left for me to love? Like, Podi's great as like an academy project, and potentially I could see something in there. They scored fairly highly on youth. Like, I gave them an 8 there, but explosive individuals, guaranteed star firepower. Is there a whole lot of it? No, not really. Is the calling something special? No, not really. So there's very little for me to root for in terms of watching Ents. As a true neutral, like, Ents is just the 30th best team in the world. Like, kind of like on the HTV ranking. That's just kind of what they are.
And it shows right now, because I like to listen to other people's shows a lot, and whenever other people broke down the roster changes in the offseason, I don't think I heard Ents' name once, and that tells a lot. That tells you that they're not on even people's radar at the moment. Like, and the moves weren't that interesting that they inherently need to be talked about. Adding in Fico and Krasnov, they can be good players, but I mean,
it didn't save Rostomania, did it? Everyone said it was mid, and then you're talking about Ents adding 2 Polish guys who are like decent, like a short retake the week. My show talked about it, but we talk about everything. We talk about the women's scene. We talk about tier 3, tier 4. Like, we'll cover the next prestige lineup, I bet you. But look, it's not blockbuster.
Yep, and maybe to take a peek around the scenes here, we looked at the top 20 teams in the VRS, and then both of us had 2 Joker picks, so two teams outside of that top 20 ranking who we, for some reason, find somewhat watchable. And yeah, that's where I have Ents. I have them ranked 17th, so I'm not that high on them. There's the Finnish bias. I think the core is sort of okay, and they're not that far from breaking into the top 20, but it's hard, as you can find out from watching Fnatic or Big or other teams like that try to get to that top 20. Okay, yep, that's fair. My 23rd, Bait. Any comments on Bait? But I just find them sort of boring. Like, there's no mega good individuals on that lineup, and they made the head trick change. They brought up a new guy from their academy roster. Do you have any thoughts on him?
Look, he's got no official HLTV maps.
He doesn't even have a profile pic on HLTV. We don't know
No,
who
but
this
not
guy
with
is.
anyone. Like someone on my Discord said they looked at his face it and he's like got 70% headshot percentage. So he's not even AWPing in face it pugs. Like, who is this kid? Like, it's a bit random. It's an out of left field pick, but yeah, I have bait higher, but it's not exactly like I have them. In terms of this list, they're not above average, right? They didn't score that highly.
Yeah.
They're just very young, and I think whilst MPL is a decent little fragger, Kensey's had pretty good end of the year. There's nothing particularly like must watch about them. They're just young. They've just got potential. That's always going to keep me intrigued. But no, you're right. There's nothing that blockbuster about this roster.
Yeah, and I felt like they were kind of forced to move on from Hedrick. He had a pretty terrible year, like under a 1 rating player, and getting above that is needed for them if they want to keep their ranking, which is 10 right now. That seems a bit inflated.
Yeah. It's a bit VRS. That's why I don't rely on VRS too often, because I see little aberrations like that. I'm like, that just isn't correct. That's just not correct. But Hedrick, Hedrick got what he should have got. Like, he should have got benched. His performances were not good enough, etc. Some teams did not have the cojones to do the same thing, and they're going to regret that, I think, coming into this season, because you can't be accepting this. It's the AWP is tough narrative and just allowing your AWP to skate by on completely horrendous numbers. Like, he has to shoot people. It's still a good gun. It's still a free kill. Please, FaZe, do the thing.
Next up, I have 3D Max as my 22nd team. Sharp aim, but the CES that they play is they do innovate from time to time, but even though they have good tactics, it's not like they can make it work to reach playoffs of tournaments. Yeah. And like, it's just maybe even from this top 24 ranking of teams, like in terms of individuals, it's the least exciting team that I have here. I find very little reasons to tune into their matches unless they're playing one of the big dogs.
Yeah, so I've realized what I've done. I went down to 21 for no good reason in the top 20, and that's why Passion USA ended up in there. If we remove them, tied in this position. I actually have 3D Max. 3D Max I have tied with another team, and 3D Max, they are the second lowest rated team for me in terms of explosive individuals, fun individuals. Only beneath them is ENCE. I'm sorry.
Fair.
3D Max, it's the same thing. Like, the calling can be fun. Like, they can like innovate a little, but more importantly, just really commit to their ideas, and they're all in. It's a great sort of cohesive sort of team environment, it seems. But yeah, like there's not really anything else to write home about besides their damn commitment to these ideas and these all-ins, these brawls that they go for. So yeah, down here is about right for me as well.
Who do you have above them?
Tied with them, technically above them, just for this conversation's sake, is Astralis. Ryu's cool. Like, I think Ryu's got some potential. They've got some younger players. They also have some older players and some players that I've seen a lot of and just not been too thrilled by. I think they're very solid structurally, very solid caller in Hooksy. Just lacking a little bit of that sort of charisma buff and maybe just a little more explosive firepower. They're not quite that fun.
Yeah. I mostly agree. I have them a bit higher. I realize that maybe I'm getting a little bit baited in by these new rosters, because that's always fun to watch. How do they fare with the new players? And I think Fizzy is a pretty exciting, pretty fun AWPer to watch. I find him quite explosive, and I'm not sure if he's going to be really an upgrade over Device. Device also fell off last year quite a bit. I don't think Fizzy is going to be much worse, at least. Maybe he's going to be on par with Device. Could be having a little bit more flair in his game, and maybe he is his overall more explosive with higher ceilings than Device right now. But yeah, Astralis just doesn't look very, very frightening if you look at their roster right now. It just looks like kind of a standard tier 2 EU sort of team.
Yeah, with the right caller in place to make that work. Like, Hooksy's made the prior version work with Megas and Device. I think this version probably, you could argue, has more firepower, but it's still very much a by the numbers sort of win. Like, you're not expecting this team to just go out there and just firepower their way through to a W. They're not the Falcons. They're not Aurora. They're not just going to hit the headshots and bang, there we go. It all falls into place.
Yeah. And they have new ownership, right? And it seems like the days of Australia spending, I don't know, 200,000 a month or like 100,000 a month on player salaries is not the case anymore. It feels like a budget Astralis nowadays, and that's a smart route, but maybe not the most watchable route. I probably have this next team of mine a bit lower than you, I would guess, but I'm just not that high on Legacy. I kind of think that they're in a similar category as 3D Max, maybe with a higher ceiling, with more explosive and just overall better players, but still not much higher than them. And they had those good 2 tournaments last season, but I kind of felt like that was a blip on the radar. And after that, in the major, they didn't do much. If you just look at their result, it was like, was it 11th, which feels good. It seems good. But if you look a bit deeper, who did they beat? They beat Red Canids and Rare Adam, lost to Paravision Bait and FlyQuest. So I have that result on the top of my mind. So yeah, I'm not that eager to tune into Legacy's matches as maybe you are.
No, you have them 21st, right? That's where you have them.
Yeah.
I have them 20th.
Okay.
I'm going to be real. Like, I do enjoy certain individuals on this team. I do think that at one point you could say, like, when they were on their hot streak, they were 4 deep as far as firepower, with the only like sort of problem being their AWPer being a bit flat, being a bit uninteresting. But they're still a young sort of team. The caller's relatively new. They're not doing anything particularly spectacular. Solid, but just not that special. Yeah, they've got pretty much flat average ranks for me in everything, but they're a bit young. They're still young, despite how long we've known the names Dumao and Lato. So I only have them 1 step above where you have them. I don't think it's unreasonable to call them a little bit boring. Like, they're just lacking a little something. Maybe if you've got a consistent sort of high-level output from them, if Lux really did show that some of the calling chops he had were legit, and then go on run after run after run, yeah, maybe we can have another conversation about them. But for now, yeah, they do have to be docked a bit, considering they aren't that special, aren't that crazy. There's not too much unique about them.
Yeah, agreed. And I think there's quite a bit of room in the top 15 to have some movement. And I think Legacy is one of those teams. Maybe we'll talk about Aurora a little bit later. But there's room for teams like NIP, maybe even Big, to get a big boost in the rankings and maybe break into those spots and take over. But all right, let's continue. Is it your time? Who do you have?
Well, that was my 20. My 20 is Legacy. So
my 20.
Technically, we've merged 21 and 20 now.
All right, yeah. So who's your 19th?
Wait, did you do your 20?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. My 20. Sorry, first episode, first ever watchability ranking. Good. We're fighting through the bugs here, but I have Paravision here, which is maybe a little bit low. The Zwei move, it looks pretty interesting, and in terms of how big of an upgrade he is to AW, that can't be underestimated, and we've already seen a little bit of a glimpse of that. Sure, an online game against some cheaters, and but yeah, it's a wild, it's a well-oiled machine. Paravision is, and I think in terms of tactics, they're interesting to watch. Their overpass is one of the best at the moment. If they're gonna play Anubis, that's gonna be good for them also, and just they have played it already, but also, like, in terms of utility, one of the best utility teams out there, just suffocating in terms of how they take space away and never overextend. James is whipping anyone who overextends, and they get through those errors that they maybe find themselves doing from time to time. But yeah, Paravision 20. Where do you have them?
That's reasonable. I have them 19. Again, we're only one off on a couple of these teams. I feel like there are some big differences coming soon. But I don't think that's unreasonable to say. Like, yeah, it is very strict along the lines, well called, decent talent, a lot of youth, which for me that's their best scoring category. But yeah, the charisma on the team, minimal. Like, I don't have any particular like sentiment about any of these players, like, oh, this guy's a fiery hothead, this guy's super like charismatic in an interview. Like, technically it's a thing they can't help. Necessarily English is their second language. They're not going to be as comfortable. They're not going to be as expressive, but it's just a realistic thing that you're going to judge a team's watchability on, like how much you want to watch the person as much as the in-game player. So yeah, no, I think your Paravision assessment is entirely fair.
We have a lot of same thoughts here. So let's see if we get some separation between our rankings here. Who do you have 19th or 18th?
My 19th,
rather.
My 18th, yes, is going to be M80.
Yeah, I have the 19th.
One of my wild cards. Oh Jesus!
But
there will be differences. There will be.
No, but
differences.
that's also good. That's also good. There's some sense into this watchability. But M80, they were your Joker pick, so I thought you maybe could have had them higher. But what made you
kept it
them
objective?
Overall?
So what made me pick them is firstly, they are very young. Like they score highly on youth. They are a very fresh team in terms of guys like Sin being a very young IGL. Lake's not exactly a wizened old man. Jaber, their fresh signing. All these guys have a lot to show, a lot to figure out about themselves as top players. So that'll keep me coming back. But for now, they have lost a bit of explosiveness in that. Hext was very clutch. Like he was a very important part of the team in that sense. And I think losing that aspect has downgraded them. Plus he was, the life of the party. Like he was the guy keeping everyone hyped, keeping everyone, out of their feelings. That's often a problem we see with North American teams getting a bit emo, getting a bit dour. He was always driving them, keeping them alive, keeping them invested, really. And I think they've lost a few points in a couple of different categories there just by that change. But I'm still interested. I still want to see Lake, find some consistency against the very best. Show those performances that he is capable of week in, week out. So I'll be watching to keep track on that. See how Sin's calling, see how Jaber's developing. So I'll be keeping an eye on them. They just won't be my first go-to in terms of teams to be watching.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. As I said, I have then up at the 19th spot. I think the move that they made is a bit curious, at least from the outside looking in, moving on from Hext and bringing in Jaber. I mean, just fragging-wise, it seems like a lateral move, but do you have any thoughts, any theories on why they made this change?
So I've heard, I'm not sure how much of it is public info. I mean, someone told me in a DM. I'm not sure if they found it out or if this is just something we're supposed to know. But Jaber was meant to join the team when Hex did. Like they were actually angling for Jaber at the time. Couldn't get him. They ended up getting Hexed on a 6-month deal. They thought, hey, that'll fill the time. We'll just see what happens. They didn't expect, I'm assuming, for them to have that success at London, to have Hext be so clutch, Hex be so important, influential. So come the end of the season, I think they've got it wrong. They've gone back to the old idea and decided this wasn't enough. This wasn't good enough. Maybe their vision is that Jaber will eventually be such a good player, such an impactful star that they have to have him, so bring him in for Hex. I just think, honestly, you could have brought Jaber in for Swisher if you had to bring him in. I just think Hex was the wrong cut more than anything. Not necessarily that Jaber's the wrong addition, because I see the vision. Mm-hmm. It's just maybe not the moment to be cutting Hexed from your team.
All right. Let's move on to my 18, and that is going to be Heroic. Interestingly, they just beat Pain while playing with Youngstar, with Alcaren, not being able to play this Blast Bounty tournament to start things off. But yeah, they have a good bit of talent. Nilo is still a prospect, or maybe not even a prospect anymore, just a player to watch and keep an eye on. One of the top talents from Sweden right now. And every time I turn into their games, Xfloud, he has at least a map where it just goes off with a 2 rating or something above that. Yeah, they have the young angle, maybe, and not even a maybe, like not many brand level players, or like in terms of like personalities, they don't really have that yet, just because of being young, and maybe they haven't been able to have time to work on that angle yet. And some players don't even like to do that. Some players just like to play and don't even want to be big personalities. But yeah, that kind of hurts them in the watchability wise. Where do you have Heroic?
I have Heroic quite a bit higher. I have them up at 11. I'm a big fan of guys like Nilo, like Susp as well. I'm actually a fan of. Currently, obviously, with Youngstar AWPing, kind of embarrassing that this random anchor can pick up an AWP and be better than about 30% of the top 10 teams are AWPers, and then top 20, probably about 70%. Actually kind of a shock to no one that these garbage AWPers, turns out they're just garbage AWPers. Like, turns out the AWPer's still fine. You can still point it at people, click it, and they die. That hasn't changed. It's still an AWP. So yeah, shout out Youngstar for embarrassing everyone. But more importantly, yeah, the top talented guys on this team have really explosive maps, have impactful moments. Krisen is a young caller, still calling a tidy game on this team. Like, he's back reunited with his coach of choice, essentially, like vice versa. The coach now has his IGL of choice. Tobiz, Krisen, the duo from MOUZ and XT. I think this team's just exciting. Very exciting. Now, they do lack a bit in the charisma department. They don't have a bona fide superstar or someone who can really take over the server in a highlight capacity. But they still have good players, good calls, a lot of youth. I think I have to watch them, essentially, coming into the season. Like, they're slightly above the middle of the ranking, but they are going to be must-watch TV for me.
Nice. So Heroic was my 18. Who's your 17? Yep.
G2.
Oh my god! We differ on this a lot. I'm gonna let you know soon where I have them, but why is G2 so low?
Look, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on a lot of the things I have to be sold on to give G2 all that credit. Now, to be clear, between G2 at 17 and, let's say, Spirit, who are far higher up the ranking, I'm not going to tell you where, but they're far higher, there are only about 4 points, and there's a lot of teams tied, right? So there's very little separating this, because I had to use a little personal bias to separate exactly within the groups. G2, look, they have individuals who can pop the hell off. MOUZ can dominate a series. He hasn't done it in a while, but he can. Matisse can win you an event, along with Heavy God. Great individuals. Like, maybe not quite Falcons tier firepower, but, pretty damn good. But the calling is suspect. The structure is suspect. I don't care how many good mid-rounds we saw on Inferno in that one Blast London run. The overall playbook and the overall strategic breakdown of G2 has just not been that impressive. It's been wanting. So yeah, decent charisma, a little bit of youth, that keeps them above some of these other rosters. But if I could reliably say I can tune into a G2 game and not just smash my head into my monitor watching them, throw MOUZ MD through a smoke with no flashbang and just a prayer, yeah, I'd probably have them higher. But I've seen too much of that. It's annoyed me too much. I have to keep them this low.
Okay. I have them all the way up at third is G2 for me. Now, that London event is still relatively fresh on my mind, and what made that event special for me is that, well, winning an event, beating out all those teams, that shows me that they can do it. So they can play competitive games against anyone, literally anyone in the world, like they did in the major, going 3 maps against Falcons. You could argue that they probably even should have won that match, and so that's good proof that they have a lot going on in this team. Now, there are questions, of course, but those questions don't detract that much from my ranking, just because there's a chance. Anytime I tune into a G2 match, there's a chance that they will win. It's most likely going to be pretty fun Counter-Strike with maybe broken plays, good mid-round calls. The structure is not there at the moment, but that almost even makes it more exciting for me. So I just like watching them a lot, and I think there's a lot of fun personalities also on this team. Hunter has been in the scene for a long time. I like the eye of the tiger that Son Pius has, especially going into stage games, and of course the sharpness of Matisse is fun to look at also. Although he's a player that I'm putting a bit of a critical eye on this season, because he popped off a few times last year, but overall it wasn't still mega good. It's not like he's one of the best openers in the world. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. And also I think they seemingly were ready to make a move last season. Even maybe if they would have gotten the right player. I think Saw wants to make a move if this thing doesn't start working out better. So I think they're ready to make a move also. So that's going to be fun to watch, to see what they're going to end up doing. And just one more thing. I don't know I don't know if they're going to want to play Anubis a lot, but Sanpei is pretty sick on Anubis. I took a look at his CS2 stats on that map, and overall, on all the other maps, he's a 106 player in Counter-Strike 2, but on Anubis, 1.21. He's been rocking on that map, so that's one more exciting thing about G2. But that's interesting. Yeah. You have them all the way down there. How is Heroic more exciting than this G2? Heroic can't win a tournament.
So?
Okay, well,
when Heroic, I have kids, I have youth, I have things to look forward to. With G2, I have veterans, players that have been hyped to the high heavens, who can barely beat Fluxo, lose to Bait, lose to 3D Max. There isn't that sort of convincing they are a top superstar team and the stars are going to deliver every time. It's like, no, I'm going to be told a billion times Heavy God's the greatest things in sliced bread, and watch a game where he gets 10 kills, 9 deaths in 15 rounds, then be like, I guess his rating looks pretty, but did you watch any games, lads? Like, I'm not 100% sold on the opium that I'm supposed to be huffing when it comes to watching G2. I feel like there's been a few people selling me, I think, broken dreams on that team, and I'm just not buying it right now, especially the Sun players.
Yeah, I think you're a bit low on them. I admit I'm a bit high on them, so probably the viewers will split the difference and put them somewhere at that 10 ranking range. But yeah, this is what I wanted. It would have been a bit boring if we're gonna agree on every single team here. So my 17th was ENCE. We already talked about them. So I'll give you my 16. My 16 is Foot. And obviously a very, very young team, 19 years old on average, but they have a lot of mechanical skill on this team. And I almost find them a little bit weird still because I haven't been able to watch that many of their games because they just haven't played the biggest tournaments yet, but their ranking is pretty high, so they are going to be at Krakow. They're going to be in EPL, so that's going to be a chance for them to show what they're really made of, but I still haven't seen the run from them, Saw making it to the semis of the 2024 Cologne or runs like that, Pain making it to the semis of the major. I don't know if this team is capable of doing things like that, but obviously a lot of talent, so if you want to buy low on a team, I think this is one to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you give Foot back-to-back games against Brazilian teams in the major, I'm sure they'll make a top 4 too. Like, I mean, pretty much anyone with a pulse and a top 20 side will make that same run. So no offense to Pain, but that's not a selling point for me. But yeah, the Foot part of it, I'm pretty much on the same page. I've got them a bit higher, but they are young, interesting. They do have some individuals that I watch that I'm like, ooh, that guy he's kind of sharp. Like, if Demon's peeking you, you're dead. There's just no two ways about it. You have to peek Demon or you're dead. Launex, has shown us, like, for me, a surprising amount of ability in the hard opener, just straight bozo swing roll. I'd always thought, that wasn't quite his wheelhouse. I didn't think long-term that would be his wheelhouse, but on this team, he's found a decent level on it. He's not Makaze, but he's good enough. And the rest of the team, like guys like Jokes, stepped up a lot. I mean, Jokes out of his anchoring roles and with some of the clutches he's making happen, it's become a more and more interesting player. So, no, they are a pretty interesting team. Okay calling. Yeah, I have them up at 14th. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, it's a reasonable place to have them. We'll see if they develop and become like, if Demon turns into the next bit, for example, hell yeah, we're going to talk about them in the top 10 for watchability. But until we reach that point, I think this is reasonable.
Who do you have at that 16 spot?
That's where I have Bait. So Bait for me, yeah, we talked about it a bit. A lot of youth, everything else, nothing quite special enough, quite standing out enough. We'll see what Kenzizor and NPL can do. We'll see what this young guy can do, whatever his name is, like the new AWP they promote from their academy. I honestly don't know him from Steven, and pick a Steven. I don't know him from that guy. So we'll see what comes of him. Yeah, they get the highest or second highest score for youth that I've awarded in my rankings. But there's not a whole lot else to call them like super watchable.
Yep, they're pretty whatever. Unlike this next team up, who I probably have lower than you, but at my 15 I have Aurora, and I just felt like they they lost quite a bit in having to let Joda go, bringing in Soulfly, mixing up the roles. Who's gonna be able to get their roles? Probably Zantara is gonna be continuing to do that, because why not? He is still a very, very explosive, fun opener to watch. And what is Soulfly gonna be able to do on this roster? The first game didn't look pretty. Okay, it's just one game, but still doesn't make me very excited for this roster, and their calling has been talked about a lot. A lot of people thought that Major would be the one on the chopping block, but he gets to continue. There are players, Zantares, already talked about him. Woxic, I think he's a capable lopper to have on this roster, and certainly not the weak spot here. But something makes me feel like they're just gonna... The bottom might fall off this next season, and I'm always going to have an interest to tune into a game where Zantares is playing, especially if he's on. He's one of the most exciting players to watch, but ahead of them in these rankings, there are already a lot of class players, so that's not going to take them higher from me than 15. Where do you have Aurora?
Aurora a few steps, like a couple steps. I think I'm 13th. Beyond, the Zantares effect, beyond Wicardia, because Wicardia does make some pretty explosive plays on this team. Beyond that sort of aspect, there's not a lot to really root for. Yeah, I don't want to watch magical 7B rushes back to back to back to back to back. Like, that's just not interesting. That's not very fun. So I have problems with their calling. I have problems with the youth aspect, because they're not exactly a young team. The latest roster move didn't really excite me either. We're cutting Jota for Soulfly. We're going from a guy who was sort of a lurker before and made some aggressive plays out of those lurk positions to a guy who's just a hard entry again. Like, what does that achieve? Like, I've joked about this before. Like, are they just going to sign every guy who can kind of aim and just bunch them all together and just throw them at people? Like, you can't actually do that. It's funny to joke about, but it's just not really a strategy. So I was puzzled by that move. I don't think it's made them much better. I do think you're right to be concerned about the bottom falling out. Like, they are unlikely to repeat their sort of top placings they had from last year. I mean, unless they find an event weak enough again that they can actually win it. This team will, I think, struggle in 2026.
That's my 15. Who's yours?
BC game.
Okay. That was my Joker card.
I know, and I love the idea, like Mutarus with Simple, like a caller who's min-maxed the hell out of a dozen rosters, made endless like playoff runs at big events that he has no right making, and that some people put up to divine intervention because they don't want to give Mutarus credit. I never understood that sort of take. They've had no right performing like that. Put him with a real superstar. Hey, in theory, it's like if you can apply the same leadership aspect, get the most out of Simple, get something out of Electronic, it's all great in theory. But in practice, what I end up looking at is a team with one player I trust to make plays and be explosive and be interesting in any way. A guy in Electronic who's been a bum and a team wrecker for like 2 years, maybe more. And then 2 Portuguese players I have no interest in watching alongside Mutarus, who's a good caller, but like, what the hell am I supposed to give a crap about these other guys? They're not, the org doesn't want them. I'm telling you that now. They exist on this team as VRS fodder. The second they have the ranking locked in, they're gone. So I'm a bit down on it. I'm a bit cynical when it comes to this BC game roster. It'd be great to watch Simple at LAN. Like, I think, there'll be some highlights. I'll probably tune into a match or two if there's nothing else on. Like, if there's no other game conflicting with it that's more interesting. That's why they're up here at 15. Like, that's not terribly low. If Legacy 3D Max is happening, I'll tune into BC game. But this is a team I'm a bit pessimistic about in terms of the actual outcome.
I'm pessimistic also about the actual level of CS they're going to be able to bring, and this was a pretty cynical core buying exercise, and I don't think it's even going to reward BC game for their huge investment in this roster. In Krakow already, there's a lot of pressure on them to put up some results. It's not going to be enough if they win one game, maybe even 2 games will be a little close. So they're going to need to win a few games to get those numbers up. I'm not a VRS expert, but that's what the experts have been putting out. I have them way higher. But guys, remember, this is a watchability ranking for me. This is not what what I think BC Game is going to be able to do results-wise. I have them all the way up 4th because to start the season, there's pretty much no other team that I'd rather be watching, say, in Krakow than BC Game. It could be Spirit versus Falcons in a group stage game, but I'll tune into BC Game versus whoever just to see this new lineup play. And it's mostly just on Simple because he's the most watchable player ever. He's not on that level probably anymore, but we saw last season in the online season when he had the motivation, when he cared, he was able to put up big numbers. And when we go into LAN, I hope we're going to see at least some of that. But it's going to be really hard because this team will probably be ass.
It probably will be. And I'm sorry, Falcons Spirits on? Yeah, I'm turning the channel. Like, I'm going straight to that game. You're telling me I could have the current Simple in Monacy. I could have Donk, the best rifle. I'm watching that game. Sorry, Simple. If you make it to playoffs, ring me up. But if that game's on, I'm not interested.
Also, just to see the potential arguments, the potential clashes in this team, that will be must-watch TV. Also, just not only what happens.
If they're throwing hands on stage, then yeah, I might have to change channel back over, or watch the clip on Twitter. But yeah, I'm not expecting this to be must-watch TV.
Right. My 14th is Astralis. We already talked about them. You had Foot 14th.
That's my Foot team.
Yeah, you had Aurora 13th. So actually, my 13th ranked team is big. So let's break that down. Okay. One of the Joker picks, just the fact that it's all the way up here in terms of watchability is telling, because for the last, I don't know, two years at least, Big has not been a team whose matches I've watched all that much. It hasn't been a reason to, switch the channel. Let's see how Tabsen is doing. Let's see how Process is playing. Like those haven't been that interesting of players to watch. Who else have they had during this time? Mantu, Searson, Rigon, QB, hyped.
Yeah, I mean there was that hyped game he played against Heroic a long time ago. That was kind of fun. He just peaked everything and hit every shot, and it was cool and all, but it didn't last. Generally, yeah, Big have been disappointing. And yeah, I mean, I have them. Like, I think this is an insane turnaround for the roster. I still only have them one spot above, just because I have my questions and I have my doubts. But as far as like the way they've upgraded in talent, the big signings they made for Grix, for Blame F, like, yeah, this should be awesome. Will it necessarily win them a title? Probably not. Like, we are putting a lot of our chips in the Blame F and Grix being superstars direction. Plus, Blame F has to call. Like, there's some things that limit my excitement, but I am quite literally like buzzing to watch this team, a team playing real events with a real AWPer, a real superstar rifle. Well, at least in terms of output. I know a lot of people don't like to give them that credit for Blame F. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Like, this should be a pretty damn good team to watch, even if some of the details are going to be funky, even if Tabson, like, what are you still doing here? Like, there are still some questions, some doubts, but I don't know about you. I'm super hyped for the Grix Blame F duo.
Yeah, same. It's already on paper should be one of the strongest duos after all those elite teams. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find a more exciting AWPer rifle duo out of any team. It's going to be tough. They're currently ranked 95th because they dropped a lot, having changed all these players. So it's not going to be tier 1 lands to start off. But I hope they can make it to that tier 1 or at least that tier 2 circuit. So we're going to be able to see this team play. And I don't know, what do you feel, King T, is the general temperature on this team when you've heard other people talking about it? But I'm kind of surprised that other people aren't that high on them. Is it just because it's big, it's hard to generally get excited about them?
Yeah, people aren't that excited because it is big. Yeah, there's Tabson still on the roster. Blame F is coming in and calling, and people are a bit iffy about Blame F. Even people who like Blame F are always like, oh, caveat this? What if, he limits this team in this way? And I don't know if I trust him, to get the most out of everyone else. I get all your problems, all your concerns, but I've watched Grix play enough that I'm like, just make it. It'll work. Just watch them play. He'll land all these crazy shots. BlameF so far, by the way, they've been playing the Roman Imperium Cup that started this week, or yesterday rather. I think BlameF is averaging like a 2.0 rating in like 4 maps. He's going to be BlameF. He's going to get those numbers, and we see him against the best teams still generally put out this kind of output. I think they will climb real quick, and they won't be 95th for very long. They're already playing LAN reps with this roster. They're going to pick up a lot of VRS off the back of it. They'll be in the mix in no time.
Yeah, and you questioned the role of tabseN there. Well, maybe output-wise, but at least I do like the brain trust of this team now that BlameF is the in-game leader. He doesn't necessarily have to maybe 100% carry that responsibility, but tabseN will be able to give input, and he's been an in-game leader for a decade or so he'll be able to help BlameF when needed. So the whole world isn't on BlameF's shoulders. Okay, good to hear. We're both pretty high on Big watchability wise. You had them 12th, right? You have Heroic 11th, yes. So we're close to breaking into the top 10. I had Liquid 12th, but my 11th is NIP. Where do you have them?
Okay, I have NIP up at 5th. Like, NIP ticks all my boxes basically. Explosive individuals. They have, not the most cream of the crop, but Casper Sky's been awesome. Wrinkle is just explosive. He may not be always good, but he is explosive. Ken has been a pretty lethal player on Inner Circle. Now on this team, I think he's got a great chance to be a huge upgrade over U-Jerks. Shush, a really solid anchor. What is there not to love on the individuals front? The calling, I think, is really strong, really identifiable as well. Like, you go into a game, you know what you're going to get from Snappy. And sure, it may not always work. Like, I've talked about this before, they pick Nuke. They may have some limitations if they don't get their A-Rush established. But if they do, they're going to play the most, fantastic, detailed, fake-heavy, sort of pacey play that's just got a lot of layers to it. But if they don't get it established, it can kind of flounder a little bit. Charismatically, I think there is a lot to like, especially the face of the team, the leader of the team, Snappy, a really just fun guy to listen to watch. And a little bit of youth. So they tick all my boxes. They're not the youngest, they're not the most explosive, but they do have strong calls. They do have a strong identity. For me, NIP, I'm going to be watching them. And I'm going to be hoping they pick Nuke, no matter what anyone says after that major run.
I'm sure they will. They will, and they still have a lot of trust in that map. Why wouldn't they? Yeah. I mean, watchability-wise, they are high. Also, just capability-wise or talent-wise, they could be one of those teams who overtake some of these other rosters that maybe don't, at this moment, deserve their ranking spots. Teams that we've already talked about today, Legacy or they can overtake Parivision or even Mongols, Aurora, these teams who have had to make some roster changes that don't necessarily make them better. I think NIP made a great pickup here, and if you also think about who they replaced, U-Jerks just didn't find his groove on this match, on this roster rather, and he did. I feel like he cost them quite a few games. So just getting a little bit more output out of Cairn. If he will be the guy that NIP hopes that he will be, NIP they probably will break into the top 10. I'm pretty high on them as well. And watchability wise, Snappy led teams have always played fun CS that isn't slow.
Yeah,
it's pretty high octane.
Exactly.
So that's my 11th. Now we're in the top 10. Who's your rank 10 team?
There we go. Sorry, this team are just a bit boring. I have MOUZ.
That's fair. I have them 9th, so we're pretty...
They're going to be top 4. That was the story last year. This year, I think that'll be tough to actually replicate, but no reason to doubt them ahead of time, really. It's just that they don't do anything especially watchable. There's nothing that special. Like Spinks has maps. Torji in the group stage. He'll take over a CT side. Like there's little things you'll see that you can say that's MOUZ's style. That's these MOUZ players. They can have these pop offs in these specific contexts, but it's not. There's no game where you walk in, you're like expecting a MOUZ player to drop a 2.0 rating, have 3 highlights. Like that's just not really how they roll. The calling's been solid. It's like a call by committee from what I have decided. I don't actually have any source on that. I've just decided that they call by committee. The charisma's fine, but it's not crazy. They're still fairly young, so it's all just yeah. So I'll see them in the playoffs. I'll watch them. I'll probably watch a couple games from them in the groups over the course of a couple of events, but they're not. You don't have to watch them for any one reason, but they just don't turn you off in any reason or any way either.
Yeah, I agree. Even with the Finnish bias, even though I like watching Jimmy, this roster just it has no superstars, no big egos, no drama. It's just we're all happy friends. We get along. Everything's fine. We're one of the most consistent teams in the world, but it's not that fun to watch their journey to get there to those high levels. So if they would have made a roster change, I think they could be higher. If they pulled the trigger on that Jimmy PR change that was talked about, it would have certainly mixed up the roles a little bit. It would have been a little bit interesting to see how that would have worked out. But now that they
weird, wouldn't it?
It would have been weird.
I just that's what I don't get about a lot of the PR moves people are talking about. It's like people don't fully understand what PR does sometimes, because the PR Jimmy move, I'm like, okay, who turns into Jimmy? Does PR become Jimmy or does Spinks become Jimmy? Because they're not both just going to get all their spots, all their roles and be happy. Like that's just not how it's going to work. Maybe Broland does, and you try to figure out something else with one of these guys. But I was turned off that idea. So I'm glad it didn't happen, actually. Like I'm really glad that didn't happen. I think that have completely screwed it all up.
Yeah, the only reason I would have liked to see it happen is to get Jimmy away from Spinks, the anchor killer, and just to see if Jimmy could replicate those 2024 numbers in a different team. Right, so MOUZ was your 10th, they were my 9th, and who is your 9th?
Pain. That's where I have Pain. So
okay, yeah, I need to talk about them.
Yeah, everything we said still applies.
Still applies. My 10th is Mongols. Where do you have them?
I have Mongols at number 3. Like, I kind of like watching Mongols play. Like, it's not like they have a superstar, but every player on the team can hit a crazy headshot or sequence of headshots. Even when down at the bottom of the barrel with Techno, because I'm not a Techno guy, I can't deny it. He can have a pop-off map and hit some crazy first bullets. Mazzinho's been damn good. Blitz can hit some shots. 910 can take over a major final map, not just any map. Like he has that quality. So there's a lot to talk about in terms of their explosiveness, in terms of the calling. They're always really solid, really reliable. A decent amount of charisma on the team, despite the lack of first language English natives. And then they are very young. Just signed Cobra Zero, who for me is a very interesting prospect. Yeah, they scored really highly for me. I don't know what's your reservation with the team?
Maybe it is just looking at the teams ahead of them is that tournament winning capability, which I don't believe that Mongols has anymore. It's one of those things where I'll need to see it to believe it that Cobra Zero can bring at least some level of what Senzu was able to bring to this team. So maybe that's the one minus, but still I agree. It's a very fun team to watch, and their CS is explosive, and the fact that they can do to Vitality, which not many teams can, say on Mirage, just be able to sting Vitality and to paralyze them somewhat with their explosiveness and sometimes even silly looking plays, and the ability to solve 2v3s or rounds like that with their players is something to behold. And yeah, there is a lot of skill in this team. Even with Senzu being gone, but maybe that's why I have them a little bit lower. If Senzu came back to this lineup, maybe they would be closer to that top 5 watchability range. So Mongols my 10th. Do I have your 9th yet?
You do. It was Pain. I'm up to 8 now.
Okay, who's your 8th?
This is where I have Furia.
Okay.
Now it's a pretty tight group here until you get to the very top. Like I think there's a few teams that are just the most watchable, and these guys are fine. Like there's players, individuals who are worth watching in terms of Molodoy, Yekindar, Keserato. Like these guys are really fun to watch. I think the calling was still it's still a little overrated. Like I still think people have gone a bit too far up Fallen's arsehole again, like they always do. They do play a decent game. I'm not going to deny that. Shout out to the combination of Sida, Yekindar, and Fallen for making all of that kind of fall into place, because let's not pretend like they were playing great CS prior to the international moves. Like it was ugly, but they figured out a new mix that just is fairly balanced, works. Yeah, a few younger players, a few figurehead, sort of charismatic guys. This is a team that's just worth watching. Like you'll see them play a lot of playoffs, and they'll play a good game even if they lose. So, yeah, I have to give them some credit.
Yeah, not much to add on to that. They're fifth for me. They're pretty complete team. A lot of fun players to watch, and I would add Keseratos and Yuri's connected plays, or how they're able to lock down bomb size. That's always fun to watch because it's so skillful, but it's also so smart how they play off each other so well because they have all those years of playing together. So now let's go with my 8th team, and that's Na'Vi. Where do you have them?
Okay. I had Na'Vi 7. Like Na'Vi are, it's the calling, right? It's the structure. It's the fact that I can see a game plan unfold as I watch a Na'Vi game. I can see all the fundamentals, all the bits of util. They still have like a little bit of explosiveness in Makaze. I do see occasional maps from Wonderful and Bit as well, where they still look pretty sharp. There's nothing more boring than an IMA 30 bomb, but everyone else, I think, when they pop off, they actually do pop off. It's not just great flashbangs. So no, Na'Vi, I think, yeah, everything in terms of theory is great with Na'Vi, and I love watching them play for that. And honestly, one of the most repulsive things I heard over Rostermania was Na'Vi cut Alexi B, add Senzu, IMA to call. I was like, whoever started that rumor, get bricked. Like, that's a terrible idea. Just would ruin the whole appeal, the allure of the team to me. Yeah, so they don't get the top grades in things like youth, charisma necessarily, or even that many explosive players, but they just so well put together that I love watching them play.
Yeah, sure. You gotta respect the system, the Blade Alexi connection, and how you can see the game plan come together. They're one of the few teams where it's really fun even to watch the minimap or something like that to see how they work the map, how they play off of timings and find gaps in the map. So you gotta give respect to that, but also maybe what brings them down from a potential top 3 watchability is that we don't get it each game or each tournament. Like if it's a like a B-level tournament, like a good IEM Rio or something, you're not guaranteed to see A+ Na'Vi play there. But when we come into the biggest tournaments, you can be pretty sure that this is the Na'Vi that you need to tune in for. So maybe we even need to separate Na'Vi in other events except the prestige ones. So they would be a little bit higher.
Yeah, in that sense, they take the time off. They prep them real hard, and you see them when they actually come to the event. Yeah, they look so ready, right? Like the major, when they were really ready for the groups and they looked super dangerous. Then they played in the playoffs, Fury, a massive upset. So much prep went into that. So there is that factor that it's at the right event. They are even more watchable than what they usually are.
Okay, we're getting into some really watchable teams here. Who's your 7th?
So my 7th was Na'Vi. My 6th is next up. That's where I have Spirit.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have Spirit.
I don't know, but like
I have them all the way up at the first spot.
Okay.
So why didn't Spirit break the top 5?
Well, firstly, there's only so much explosive firepower can do. And honestly, most of that is found in a couple players on the team. Because I know I can get it from Donk. I'll get it from Donk. And there'll be maps where I get a Shiro that's fun. Most of the time, Shiro's just good. And yeah, that's cool, but like it's not fun. Like, it's not fun at all for the most part. You have to really go digging to find the fun Shiro maps. Then after that, Tanir, when he gets added in theory, is supposed to be that next, flair player, the additional playmaker to add to the mix, this new look for them. They can add a second prong to their attack. All of a sudden, you're not sure where it's coming from. that was the theory of the move. The practice has been anything but. And in practice, for the most part, with the Chopper version of the team, we didn't see a whole lot of that. So I was, disappointed when that didn't come true. And looking into this next season, I have seen no reason why Magix is going to be a massively different caller to Chopper. He literally was raised by the man, like almost literally, in the same system. They've been together since he was 15. Like it's not going to be a different person. Like he's better friends with Donk, I guess is what everyone seems to say. Like he's a big friend of Donk's. That's cool, but it doesn't make me believe in the calling more. It doesn't really move me in terms of the overall like team charisma and stuff. We'll see how it comes to pass. But for me, I'm entering this season with just a bit of cynicism about this whole Spirit move and the way they're proceeding. Donk's still going to be Donk, best player in the world, no matter what HLTV says. But it's just not necessarily a guaranteed match made in heaven.
Yeah. I mean, this is the 1v9 podcast, so of course Donk, the ultimate 1v9 player, even in this roster where the firepower should be a little bit better than last season, but still he doesn't have that much help. But it's just a privilege to watch Donk play, and yeah, he pretty much carries them in this ranking in terms of watchability, because he's one of a kind, at least at the moment. Just common sense defying plays. He's won the highlight of the year now back to back with 1v5s. Those are just rounds that no one else can win. Not even Zybo can win those rounds. And anytime you tune into a Spirit match, you could see Donk putting up another all-time highlight. So that's why they're first for me, watchability-wise. So Spirit, you had them 6th. You had NIP 5th. So I'll give you my 6th. Yes, and that would be Vitality. Probably the best team in the world, but maybe that even detracts from them. It's one of those things where they're too perfect, that they become almost predictable in their greatness, and that's why I have them at 6. But obviously have a lot of great players. It's the best rounded roster we have and have had, honestly, since that Australis back in the day. And they have a gear that they can hit that no one else can match right now. So a lot of stuff to like, but also maybe one of those teams that I don't need to watch that much in the group stage matches, because I know they're going to get through. And they probably look pretty doing that. So let me just watch the playoff games from Vitality.
Fair enough. I see what you mean, but if I'm trying to judge a team fairly as far as like just how watchable their game is, Vitality, yeah, they're going to win. The outcome seems almost decided ahead of time, especially in the groups if they're not facing another top team. But the way they're going to play is going to be, it's going to vary map to map, match to match. Like they don't always play the same Mirage. They don't always play the same exact Inferno. Like there's so much like going on in a Vitality game that's well planned and well thought out, but also well called and like the change up is really well timed. Like they do a lot of things really well. Plus they have, just really good players at pretty much every position.
Yep.
Like Mezzi as an anchor, as a hard support, it's great. Flamesy, massively overrated by HLTV this year, but still a pretty damn good entry in support, like half support player. Rops, Zaiwu, Waterstar duo, 2025, absolutely insane. Deserve to be 2 and 3 in the world entirely, to be honest. Like they did play that damn well. And Apex is a caller. His util's really strong. His strats are well executed, well put together. Yeah, I have them up at number 2 because all that stuff is, for me, just fun to watch. Like I know what I'm getting. I know it's going to be quality. Vitality, yeah, I think they do, despite being boring, they do it in the right way.
Yep. And just to underline it, all these teams, very watchable. All these teams are very watchable. They're very close to each other. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
NIP was your 5th. My 5th was Furia. We already talked about them. My 4th was BC Game. We already talked about them. G2. My 3rd, your 17th or something. And yes. I guess we only have. Do we only have one team left to talk about? That would be the Falcons.
No, we have at least 2.
Okay. Wait, what? Oh,
because I have my number 4 is FaZe. Yeah.
So FaZe, they are my 7th. So
7th. Damn.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of magic. You don't like magicians, do you? You don't like wizardry. You don't like rabbits pulled out of hats, rounds pulled out of crevices they should not be pulled out of. You're not a fan of that?
Sure, I'm a fan. Sure, I'm a fan, but that happens every so often, and just put this team in an arena, and they probably are the most watchable team for most people, and maybe also for me. But it's just there's a lot of other tournaments going on in the season, and when I tune into a FaZe game, they can look absolutely crap also, but the peaks are very high, so I understand having them higher, and the level of players they have. Twists, very very fun to watch. One of the sharpest riflers we still have in our seed. Then Brokey can do a lot. He can be either abysmal or great, seemingly nothing in between, and that's inherently very watchable. Frozen, just a class player. But yeah, the problem is that it's the great games we see from FaZe are like pretty far in between.
Yeah, so I have FaZe at 4 for a few reasons. Firstly, explosive players. They have abundance of them. Like Frozen and Twist, for me, were both like top 8 riflers last year. Oh, top 8 players. Riflers, both top 5. Like they were both on that sort of caliber, just absolute machines. The charisma of the team is undeniable. Like both in terms of the individuals, like, Twist and his stupid hair and, reactions to his kills, and Carrigan in interviews and on stage, but also just in general. Like there's so much to love in that sense, and to just keep watching. Like you just have to keep watching. And you talk about the FaZe magic, it comes, very rarely, but when it does, you don't want to have missed it. Like you don't want to be like you're just browsing Twitter, then you have to see a clip of Twist Deagle 1v3. Like what? I thought the game was dying, was dead. Like, where did this come from? Like, you had to be watching. Like, you were going to be watching. It's FaZe Clan. So, yeah, there are some more esoteric reasons as well in that sense, where you can describe them as like a force of nature that you kind of have to anticipate, you have to be ready for. But in terms of my objective criteria, I tried to do it very scientifically. They scored so highly in explosiveness and in charisma that they end up here. Like, nothing more to it.
Now, give me your top 3. Who do you have there?
So my number 3, Mongols. Number 2, Vitality. For me, the most watchable team, the team I want to watch a lot, is Falcons. No matter how poor the structure or calling, those players, I just have to see them.
Yeah, I have them second. Spirit is my first. So I guess on average, Falcons is our most watchable team, and there's a lot of aspects. The level of talent on this team, with m0NESY being maybe the most fun player to watch on this roster, being able to pull those rabbits out of hats. Nico's still very good, and now they have Kiyosuke also, so the 3-headed monster gives them a lot of firepower. So everything should be set for a dominant era, honestly. I mean, Vitality is up there, Spirit is a good team, but we still haven't seen them take that step where they're actually become the real villains of Counter-Strike, because of their background, they can be seen as the villains, but because they lose, they don't win tournaments that much, and they especially don't win the big tournaments. The scene, the viewers still don't regard them as the bad boys that they probably will become at some point. It seems destined to happen, and that's gonna be fun to watch.
It will be. It's like, it's like Karate Kid, like the Cobra Kai dojo. If that dojo wasn't favored going into the tournament, it's not that big a deal. They're just kind of dicks. In this sense, yeah, Falcons, you're right. The fact they don't win the tournaments, you can't fully have them as the heels of Counter-Strike. They're not quite there yet, and they will be. I'm sure they will be. Like, as Kyosuke keeps developing, keeps having better and better performances, they start getting it together, like in the right moments as well, because they've had huge event playoff runs from like m0NESY at everything but the prestige events. And we know in the past on G2, he's been fantastic at prestige events. If that all comes together in the right moment, yeah, they can win Kato, or this year Krakow. They can win the Cologne. They can win the very big events that we're going to have coming soon. This is a team that's worth being scared of, but also blockbuster. The definition of it. Like, sure, when they lose, everyone's watching. When they win, everyone's watching. They are blockbuster. They are must-see TV for me.
Yeah. And they're a team where, honestly, anything can happen. They can lose those 3v5s on Inferno B side. They can make the comebacks. They can also choke those big leads. So that just adds to the excitement. And whenever there's a team where you feel like anything can happen, and almost any player on the roster can win a certain 1v3, that just makes for a very, very watchable Counter-Strike. So, all right, Falcons, our most watchable team. How do you overall, now that we're done with the exercise, how do you feel about having your list? And
yeah, I don't know. Like I'm pretty happy with it, honestly. If I look at these teams and I think about like a thought exercise, I'm like, if there's a phase game on, and let's say both this team and another team are playing like a neutral team, there's a phase game on and there's a heroic game on. Which one I'm more likely to tune into? Probably the phase game. Probably the phase game. If there's this version of Pain have a game on against the neutral team, or 3D Max have a game, I'm watching Pain every time. Like it just kind of, it has lined up nicely in most cases for how my energy will be in the season to come. So yeah, I'm quite happy with mine. I don't know about you and yours, but yeah, I'm happy with mine.
I don't know. I like your criteria. I almost feel like you might have the least out of ours, because I had some crazy picks here, but overall it was a fun exercise. Thank you, King T, for coming on. Do you have anything to let the people know about? Anything to promote?
Look, yeah, I'm King T on YouTube, King TCS2 or King TCS. I don't know what finds me fastest. Just know I'm not the African American rapper. If you put King T in and you find that guy, that's not me. Quite clearly, I'm not with it like that. But yeah, running shows 2-3 times a week. Tune in if you're interested. Don't if you're not. That's all I have to say.
Thanks.